And good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us on April 20th, 420, if you will, 2016. This is King Jordan you're listening to tonight. Now, today is a special episode indeed. Tonight we're bringing back, he is the former bodyguard of the King of Pop. He also bodyguarded big stars like William Shatner, rapper The Dream, and such others. We're going to talk about sports today. We're going to talk a little bit about the article that said Beyonce is the new King of Pop. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about a little bit of everything going on in the world and Michael Jackson, of course. That in mind, let's bring back to the program the one and only bodyguard from Michael Jackson, the King of Pop, Mr. Mike Garcia. Mike,
hey,
how
Jordan,
are you?
how are you? Hi, Jordan. Thank you very much. How are you? Good to hear from you again.
Absolutely. How you been? Everything
doing
good?
Fantastic. Yeah, doing fantastic.
Okay. For the listeners that are listening for the purposes of getting to know you and your background as it relates to the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, can you please tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, I got into bodyguarding.
Haven't heard about it.
Got into bodyguarding in the mid-2000s, and I got a call as part of a three-man group, me, Bill, and BJ, that took care of Mr. Jackson during the time in which that he came back to the country. And some people have seen Bill and BJ's book out. Some people have seen me on the CNN as Dr. Murray's trial went through.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where I'd be known from.
Yeah, and you spent time with him following his acquittal in 2006. As
Yep.
you mentioned, you were on the show with Diane Diamond, Ryan Smith, another friend of Michael Jackson, and someone from the Rolling Stones magazine. And, I was watching this video the other day, and you and Nancy Grace, do you remember? And you and her seemed to go sparring at it. And at one point, which really aggravated me, was she said, "My friend, Michael Jackson." And if everybody knows that because they followed the trial, she was not Michael Jackson's friend when, he could have used her as a friend.
At that moment, I could have not never done her show again. In fact, Leilani Clark, who helped me out with doing a lot of publicity, she was like, that's Nancy Grace. And to me, I just kind of like, I really don't have to be on her show. I said what I needed to say. I wasn't going to be a pawn of anything, because I knew at the time it was the biggest story, in the media, Dr. Murray trial. So I didn't want it to be a circus. I didn't want it to be something that was going to get out of hand. I said what I needed to say, and it just went that route. I still get people who email me about it. People from out of the country email me about it. Even friends that I have that they've never seen it, and when they see it, they just kind of get a chuckle out of it. But it was like I said, it was a matter of just defending Mr. Jackson and what the media was doing with him at the time, and she quickly. I'm not going to speak on her behalf, but she quickly kind of changed the tone a little bit, though.
Yeah, she said throughout that interview that my friend, words to that effect, and like I said during the trial, she was nothing of the kind.
Right.
But in any event, there is this other story. I don't know if you heard it, but I'm going to play the clip. It relates to this movie upcoming with a white guy playing Michael Jackson. After you hear this clip, I want to get your take.
Okay.
If urban legend is to be believed, September 2001 bore witness to one of the strangest road trips in history. Marlon Brando, Michael Jackson, and Elizabeth Taylor reportedly rented a car and drove from New York City after the 9/11 attacks and got as far as Ohio. They were intending to go all the way home back to California, and at the time, apparently, no flights were leaving New York City, any of the airports, and so they had no other option but to drive back. This, as I said, is an urban legend, and it's not clear whether this ever actually took place, but regardless, it's now been made into a subject of a one-off movie special. And amongst the cast is Joseph Fiennes. He is going to be playing Michael Jackson. That's right, white English actor Joseph Fiennes is going to be playing the black pop icon, possibly the most famous black musician of all time, is to be played by Joseph Fiennes. Outrage online has been swift and vicious, and justifiably so.
Yeah, I mean, at first glance, you hear that a white guy's playing Michael Jackson, especially everything that's going on now with the Oscars, all the talk of the lack of diversity, which is in no way untrue. It raises the question: should this be okay? Should a white actor be playing Michael Jackson? What do you think?
It raises the question, and I'll give you an answer. No, it should not be okay. It is not okay. It is not okay. He is a black man who had a skin condition and a skin disease that then changed his face later in life,
and it made him much more pale. So if a black actor was to play the late Michael Jackson, then they would have to paint his face a lot lighter, right?
Fine. So get prosthetics, get makeup. I mean, listen, they can make a gargoyle, make a guy look like a gargoyle, or a robot. I'm sure you can make someone look a little less, just lighten their skin tone.
I mean, you look at the amount of makeup that it took for them to make him look like Michael Jackson, too. So that either way, they're going to use a lot of makeup, so they might as well use a black actor because Michael Jackson was black.
He was specifically asked this question by Oprah Winfrey before he died, obviously before he died, and he said, "I'm a black American. I'm proud of it." He would not, in the possibility of a movie being made about his life and later in life, and he said, "No, I'm a black American and I'm proud of it." This is just symptomatic. I mean, this is just, you mentioned the Oscars, of course. There's all this boycott now that's going on because of the lack of diversity. Spike Lee's not going to be turning up. And now here we have an opportunity for, is actually a black person is going to be, is required for this movie, and they cast a white guy. I mean, looking at other types of Hollywood whitewashing, there's a whole laundry list. We'll just pull up a couple of them for everybody. The Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. Oh, okay, so we start with Tony Mendez, played by, who was actually an American of Mexican descent in real life, played by Ben Affleck, who's an Irish American. So that was, okay, he wrote it, directed it, he wanted to cast himself as a leading part, okay.
Although could have gotten a Mexican very easily. There's
right.
no shortage of amazing Mexican actors.
Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, not a great film, but part of the reason why it's supposed to be, they're all supposed to be Middle Eastern. It's Jake Gyllenhaal in the main part. The best, of course, the pick of the bunch, Breakfast at Tiffany's, undoubtedly the most racist portrayal, bar none, where it's Mickey Rooney playing Mr. Yunoshi. I mean, the list goes on. There's Aloha from 2015. It just goes on and on and on. And so this is, I mean, as I said, just throw out the couple of the tweets that we had. From this one from Slate, Joseph Fiennes, a white actor, will play Michael Jackson in a new movie. That's not okay. I mean, and as I said, condemnation across the line. Who in the right mind would think it's okay for Joseph Fiennes to play Michael Jackson? Talk about representation and diversity in media.
So the opportunities are there. It's just a matter of the casting agents and Hollywood in general just not wanting to give these roles to minorities that deserve it because they just figure, oh, we'll use white people. These are big names. Everyone loves them. Might as well just keep it going. But where's
Shakespeare in Love?
Jesus Christ.
He played Shakespeare in Shakespeare in Love, and now he's going to,
Wait, Shakespeare and Michael Jackson, that's a crazy career.
One wonders, I'm assuming he can moonwalk. Otherwise, I just don't know. I mean, it is just, it is staggering. Joseph Fiennes to play the part of Michael Jackson in the apocryphal tale of the road trip that possibly was, possibly never was, in September 2001.
I tell you, Mike, a lot of people from BET and the black community are outraged at this. A white guy playing Michael Jackson for this one-off movie. What is your opinion on this?
My opinion is well, when it comes to people making movies or writing books or anything in Mr. Jackson's name, I have a sour taste in my mouth to begin with. Because you're messing with legacy, and who are you to put out to fans, to put out to other people that how certain things might have happened. That's number one. But number two, I agree that as somebody who went to the stores to get creams for Mr. Jackson, to go and to see it up close and personal, it wasn't a choice. It was something that
Right.
he was dealing with. It was something that he was dealing with. So,
Right.
if you're going to make something authentic, if you're going to make something real, then I think that you would have to have somebody of African American that's going to play his part. And like the gentleman said, he said, there's prosthetics, there's this. I mean, we're looking at stuff like Harry Potter and all kinds of stuff that's going on nowadays. And you're telling, I mean, back in my day, when Coming to America came out, look at Eddie Murphy in the barbershop chair. That's something that can be done, and to me, I just look at it like, do it right, do it right. And I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of what the gentleman was saying, he said a lot of correct things, which I believe in too, as well as, just, making us, make it authentic. It has to be authentic. And I think if it's not done authentic, then, it's just people. I mean, it's people to begin with anyway, but that are just out there trying to get some Michael Jackson money.
No question about it. We're talking with the former bodyguard of Michael Jackson, Mike Garcia, joining us here tonight on King Jordan Radio. You could call into the show at 347-857-2950. Now, Mike, we saw something on the internet that claimed that Beyonce was the new king of music, or something along those lines. And I know you got a little agitated when you saw that, right?
They're always going to say somebody is, and then when you look at it in black and white, then you look at it at that performer and you say, well, they have Michael Jackson influence in them too. So, how much can you really be the king over Mr. Jackson when you can tell from your music or from your talent, you've been influenced. So, but it's funny, it's for right now. But there's probably a lot of those people who are voting in that category probably are not too familiar with Mr. Jackson's older music as well, that people still listen to today.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you were with him, Michael Jackson, can you tell my audience, was he just like anything that they portrayed him in the media? What kind of guy was the Michael Jackson? Did you ever get a chance to just talk to him like we're talking right now?
Oh, all the time. We something that I tell people that's real special about the time in which that we got to be with him. It was at a time in which that he was going through a realization period of who he could trust and who he couldn't trust. So
right.
when I say it was just
on him.
Yeah, and when I say, it was just us, it was just us, literally.
Right.
Me, Bill, BJ, and Mr. Jackson, the kids, sometimes the nanny, sometimes the teacher. But it was just us. And there was a lot of times, I mean, we went to movies, we went to parks, we went to, we did a lot of things, got to talk a lot, a lot of things, learned a lot of things too. So, but true Mr. Jackson fans know who he is and know what is false in the media. Definitely, he's a message. He's
right.
not just a singer.
He's a human being, indeed. And
yeah,
I believe you said on one of the other broadcasts that he used to really be nice to his fans in terms of giving them liquids to drink if they were thirsty, and things of that nature. He never let his fans down.
Oh, he was the most giving, and I don't mean to say this just because it's Mr. Jackson, but out of everybody, I worked for a lot of celebrities in a lot of different categories, from a lot of different genres, and he probably has to be the most giving person I've ever come across, and that's why I've had conversations with other celebrities, later on in my career to where I've kind of expressed that, and it kind of gives them a little bit of insight of a reality check of if a man this big, this huge, and this magnitude can do that, then I can do a little bit more. So that's awesome.
Oh, absolutely. And other people that you had a chance to work with was Lindsay Lohan, as I said at the top.
Yep.
Lindsay Lohan, also in the media. How was she to work with?
You know what? A lot of people expect me to say that Lindsay was crazy, or Lindsay had an episode, or things of that nature. But when I look at, number one, it's Hollywood. Number two, when I was with her, she was still fairly young. She was in her early 20s. So
right.
She was to me. She was the she was the prototype of American actress girl in Hollywood. I guess if that makes sense. Yeah, she definitely. In Hollywood, you have a lot of people who've done work, and then you have people who haven't done work, and then you have a lot. Then you have those the guppies, the fish, who are down there trying to be with anybody. But she's the real deal. She's the real deal actress girl, and to me, I think that anywhere, it doesn't matter what country she lives in. I think no matter what in life, she's still young enough, and I think that she can definitely come back and be somebody of a bigger magnitude of what she is now. Career-wise, further down the road, because she's got it all. She's got it all. When you're young, you're young. It's what they're doing now that really matters. And in Hollywood, I tell people I'd rather not work in Hollywood than for clients. I'd rather work for them when they're not in Hollywood. It's a crazy game. It's a lot of hustle. It's a lot of media. It's people hiding in their bushes and cars, and things like that. Every single minute. And we get, we dealt with that out here. Mr. Jackson out here in some situations, but in Hollywood, it's just nonstop. It's pretty intense. And you shake your head and you just kind of say, "Wow, man, it's so Hollywood." But you kind of open your eyes and you say, "I am in Hollywood."
When you first got the word back in 2006 that you were going to be working for Mr. Jackson, what came behind?
I didn't get the word. I was basically told, and this is probably a day before Christmas, a day or two before Christmas, and I just got the word that somebody was coming in town, and that I didn't want to miss this. I'm not going to believe it, and this is unbelievable. So I had some family in town for the holidays, and I told them it better be worth it, And I was kind of at the time really kind of looking at it as far as like I'm kind of backing somebody's play. I'm not really going to be on point for this I guess for this job. So it wasn't until I got to the house, and it wasn't until I got to the house that he came down the stairs, because he came in the night before. And he came down, the kids came down first, and then he came down. Wow, Mr. Jackson, so, and it went on for, and then what actually, went on, which I thought was going to be a weekend job, because nobody at this time knew he was even in town, or even in the United States. Nobody knew anything at all. So they have decided that security was going to be needed at a certain length of time. I thought it was going to be for the weekend, and just kind of like, you want me back tomorrow? Okay. Oh, you want me back tomorrow? And then it kind of turned into that, and then next thing you know, it went from that to these are my guys, and 7 days a week.
Wow. And the children, were they respectful to you?
Oh, absolutely. But they're taught that. They're taught that by Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson is very enforceful on manners, and which is great because you don't see that nowadays. And he definitely would, wanted to make sure the children were always saying thank you, that they're always courteous, to others, and not to take anything seriously, not to take the situation. I guess take the situation and kind of take it for granted. He was really big on making the kids understand the real things in life, and even though all these people are asking your daddy to, for an autograph or for special treatment, this can all be taken away, so he was something else.
No question about it. Okay, we do have some callers. Let's go out to Pennsylvania. 484 is the area code. Please state your name and where you're calling from. You're live on King Jordan Radio. 484, it's your turn. 484, your line is open.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, what is your
My
name
name
and where
is
you calling
Brenda.
from?
I'm Brenda, and I live near Philadelphia.
Okay, you're on the line with Michael Jackson's former bodyguard. Question or thought?
Hi. What's that?
Any questions or thought?
Sorry, I'm not prepared. I didn't know you were opening up the line.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. You're just listening in. All right, let's go out to Chicago, I believe. 872 is the area code. Your line is now open. Please state your name and where you're calling from. You're live on King Jordan Radio with Mike Garcia.
Renee Robinson.
Renee from Chicago?
Yes, I'm Renee from Chicago.
Hi, Renee.
How you doing, Renee?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I just called in, so I was really listening. So I don't really know what was being said. So I don't really have any questions. I'm just interested in whatever you have to say.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for listening in. Appreciate it. So, Mike, the other things that we were going to talk about tonight, besides the King of Pop, Michael Jackson is some of the news that's been going around. And first, let me start with another huge star that has been charged with at least 50-plus women of rape, and but he will be charged in the courts. And I'm talking about the one and only Bill Cosby. Give me your opinion on this situation.
Oh, man. I really, it's really an unfortunate situation, that because, we all grew up with watching Bill Cosby, as far as the Cosby Show, for my generation. But it's like you want to believe it, but you don't. And you want to, but it's just so many people. Yeah, it's so many accusers. But in watching it, also I see that a lot of them had either dropped their case or he's beaten it. And I'm saying to myself, how do you beat that many people?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm really curious. Yeah, but he's beating a lot. He's beating a lot of people. As they come, I guess you'd say. But it's definitely an unfortunate situation because, from Pudding Pops to the Cosby Show and to everything else, that was just everybody's. That's everybody's dad. I guess you'd want to say whatnot, and to see all these things happen, and which for me. I always keep in mind when it comes to Mr. Cosby is the fact that the people on the show that he was with, they've all come forward and they said that they've never seen anything, and that's a lot of time to spend with somebody who you haven't even seen any kind of inclination or any kind of clue or any kind of anything that would make you think that maybe he did, maybe he is guilty, but the whole except for the guy, I think the guy who played the Navy husband to Denise. I think he came out and said something, but he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, he was emphatic about it. he was emphatic about it.
Yeah.
You know,
he hasn't
Michael,
done anything since then. So you know, who knows what his motive is?
Yeah, good point. And Michael Jackson's attorney just when he was on CNN and other places, we'll be talking to him tomorrow. He said, you know, slow down. You know, let's wait till he's tried. Basically, he, you know, just like Michael Jackson was, everybody thought he was going to be found guilty, and you know, just
I'm sure
he wasn't guilty.
I'm sure he's going through a lot of what Mr. Jackson went through as far as seeing who your real associates are and who your real friends and your probably even real family, you know, at this point are. You know, 50 people is 50 people, and you know that's a lot of cases. But you know, I mean, I wish him the best, and if things can get better for him and he does succeed, he's definitely seen at a time where, you know, who's your friend, who's not your friend, who's willing to take a picture around you, and who's not.
No question about it. Also, you heard about this guy, Jared Fogle. He used to be the Subway man. For those Subway sandwiches, I think he lost around 200 pounds. But what he did was he was looking for these kids, and this wasn't hearsay or anything. It was on his text messages. He pleaded guilty to 15 years. He was offering Johns up to $500, you know, especially if you could get me somebody over, you know, younger than 14, 13. Did you happen to catch that story? And if so, what your thoughts on that?
I saw that story, and I was asked about it because I helped put together a bullying program, and somebody there we had just, you know, on the top of children. You know, you really don't. The thing is that kind of situation is going to happen. I'm sure Subway didn't do.
No, they had no idea.
Yeah, there's no way of seeing that coming. You know what I mean? They have no idea of what's going to happen. In no way should they. You know, I saw where people were boycotting them and all kinds of. You know, people don't know what people do behind closed doors, and that guy, you know, apparently had a deeper, darker side than anybody knew, you know. But if it's something that Subway didn't know about, I don't want to say condone, I want to say know about. I don't care what they condone, but it's more of what they knew about. To me, that's the bigger issue. If they just knew about it, that's where I would have a problem with them. But I think did you see the you know, like, unlike Michael Jackson, this guy was caught on tape saying it. They didn't have that with Michael Jackson. There was text messages. He was done. Yeah, he was done. He didn't have. I mean, that's why he pled guilty. I mean, he's got money for lawyers, but he pled guilty because he knew he was done once you know, the real evidence came up.
And it also came out that he took a little beat down in jail, as that's expected, because it's going to happen.
That's going to happen.
That's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, it's nothing you can say about it. It's going to happen. Especially, especially when it comes to things of people. How do you want to say? Of children, you know, when it comes to those cases, you can almost guarantee it's going to happen. You know, so
no question.
Yeah, that's a guarantee. To me, it was more of what is the time frame before somebody did get their hands on them.
Yeah, and
that's what I thought.
Tom Mesereau always said, you know, you're better off being a murderer in jail. You're better off killing your wife in terms of in jail. In terms of how people look at you, it's a different way of life if you're known as a predator.
Absolutely.
I had one attorney on the show say, if you're going to go to jail, go to anything else, but do not ever go and be charged with child molestation. They, for some reason, I guess, the prisoners say to themselves, even they say, they're picking on somebody that's defenseless in children or animals or things like
absolutely.
that. They can't fight back.
Yeah.
You know?
And
in the Michael Jackson trial, we didn't have these things like, where was the tapes? Where was the text messages? Because in that trial, texting was still around. If Jackson was so obsessed with this kid, like the DA tried to say he was, how could they have any of these evidence? There should have been something, not a fight or nothing. Because, that's why it's hard to believe. And usually, also with the whether it's Bill Cosby, Jared Fogle, you see these giant numbers for predators. Like Bill Cosby is 50 plus, Jared Fogle has 20 plus. They had one or two for Michael Jackson, and everybody wanted money. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much why they get their hands up, and why they do things.
No question about it. Also, did you happen to catch the O.J. Simpson FX series? And if so, what's your thoughts on it?
When that happened, I was really into the case. Just
when it happened in the 90s.
Yeah, when it happened, because of the, and how do you want to say, just as far as like the clues that they were finding, every day, it was just something that I think intrigued everybody. But for me, I moved out to California right after that happened, and
oh, really?
And when I say I went from the airport to Bundy, I literally went from the airport to Bundy just to see where she was, attacked and the scene for it. So, and at that time, Jordan, there was still blood in the tile.
Are you serious?
There was still blood in the tile at that time, and of course, you have some people who are standing around talking about what they think happened. The police tape wasn't that far off. It wasn't that far off. In today's probably procedure, they'd probably corn off the entire street. Back then, the tape. Now I'm thinking about the criminal tape. You could walk right up to. And I'm talking within a couple feet from where she was. She was laid out.
Oh my
God! Like
God.
I said, there was still blood in the tile. There was still blood in it. I still remember that. Yeah. And the sidewalk was wide open. Like you could stand on the sidewalk. It was that close.
So you could actually still see it.
Yeah.
But
and then
coming
then of course you get in the car and you drive over to OJ's house. And you're like, oh man, he's not that far. This and that. But that was a huge deal. Yeah. I was living in LA at the time, and that was a huge deal. But watching the show, it's man, it just kind of brings back so many memories of.
Oh my God! Everything.
Of how you were watching it, and how brutal it was, and how things went, how things happened. So.
Yeah, during the show they were playing "A Kiss from a Rose," which came out in that year, and Coolio's song "Gangsta's Paradise."
Oh
man!
Remember
those songs? Those were
absolutely.
hot back in the 90s.
I know. I remember where I was when they did the verdict, and I was in college. I didn't have cable. I didn't have TV, so I went out to. I knew what time that they were going to do, so I went out to my roommate's car, and I listened because I had to go to school in about 10 minutes or so. So I just went in the car and I sat there and I listened to the OJ verdict, and I remember thinking, wow, like wow. And then I went to school. And just to see how some people thought he was, guilty. Some people thought he wasn't guilty. Yeah, it was just.
Yeah.
Man, I remember it like it was last year.
They're going to have a documentary on ESPN, and they're going to claim Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen's father, I believe, is going to claim that it wasn't O.J., it was the son named Jason. I don't know how strong the evidence is that somebody else could have did it.
Could have been.
Could have been. Definitely, but
yeah, it could have been. I mean, I don't know where he was when the limo came.
You don't know where he was when what?
I don't know where he was when the limo came to pick up OJ to the airport.
To Chicago, right?
Yeah. So I don't know where that happened or whatnot, but man, yeah, I've been to his house, and everything. And wow, what a TV set.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest trials in history. 9 months it went on, and people, like you said, all over the world, but especially over there, were into it, riveted by that.
It was on every day. I remember coming home. Like I said, I was in college, so I'd come home to get something to eat or whatever, and it was on the TV. Or somebody was talking about it, it was huge. Probably one of the biggest things, like as the riots or something that came through Los Angeles history was the OJ situation.
Yeah, and then a couple of years before that was the Rodney King beating. So that was in
true story, Jordan, and I just remember this true story. My brother used to deliver supplies of some sort, and the federal where they had the court case was going on. At this time I was staying at his house. I had just moved to the mainland, and he says, "Hey, I got to go down there. You want to go down and check it out? All this OJ stuff is going on." And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." So I went with him. Well, making deliveries, you go underneath the building to make the deliveries. And of course, you have the U.S. sheriffs, our U.S. marshals, and everybody else that's out there standing there. And then I saw a van, and then I started seeing people from the court case that were walking in. And next thing I know, they brought OJ out and put him in the van. And my brother comes out, and my brother said, they made him, I guess, get up against the wall as they walked OJ out. And my brother, my brother got in the car. And he said, "Hey, that's OJ right there." And so when we pulled out, no joke, when we pulled out, and I haven't thought about this in years, when we pulled out of the federal building, it was a marshal's car, OJ in the white van. I think they were taking it back for lunch or some sort. And then it was us, me and my brother, and then it was the marshal's van. So as we came out of the building, that was the look. That was my OJ story for you. Yeah, I totally forgot about that, but yeah, that's how close. And I saw him during the trial. I can honestly say that. That's was something else.
Yeah, he was some football player, and he was a great football player, and I don't know, the evidence looked compelling, but
and when I watch that miniseries, I think to myself, I really want. You really kind of wanted him to be not guilty, but
right,
the evidence and then and to see how and then to now being older and really looking at his demeanor afterwards, you kind of think to yourself, wow, who does talk like that or act like that afterwards? Something that tragic, or you kind of think about a lot of things.
Yeah, and especially when he was running in, had that gun to his head, and A.C. Cowlings was driving that van, and that chase, I don't think anybody will forget.
Yeah, they say sometimes, in a police chase, that, just to back off, let them drive, and then they'll catch them further down the road or whatnot. But in that case, it was kind of like, it was such a big issue that if he pulled over somewhere, the crowd, I think, would crowd around him, and then that would get out of hand, or something would happen,
rumors.
What's that?
There's rumors that he wants to, OJ, this is, get with one of the, because he has parole, and if the parole board recommends him that to get out next year, it's possible he can get out. Possible, but not probable. But There's rumors that he wants to basically get with the Kardashian girls. He wants to date Chris or Kathleen Jenner if he's released from jail next year, and that would make OJ 68. Said he has a 30-year crush on 60-year-old the former
Kris
wife
Jenner?
of Bruce Jenner. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe that he probably does have that crush. I believe he probably always had a crush of some sort. Maybe. I mean, they all hung out back in the day, and
Yeah.
and, now it's a different time period, so I can imagine him saying that. I haven't seen it for myself. I haven't seen any news on that myself, but hearing from what you're saying, that's I don't blame him. I mean, he loves attention, so I can see him definitely saying that. As far as him getting out, it's either we think he did it or we think he didn't do it. You can't.
Yeah, he's very unlucky, or but like if you have nothing to hide, that my model is why run from the police with that chase.
Yeah.
If you really had nothing to hide.
And that has to be separate from, in all honesty, it has to be separated from your view of him going into a room with a person with a gun to take back his property. What he says.
Oh yeah.
You have to separate that too. So now you look at it like, okay, somebody who did all that has been in jail for the length of time he's been in. Does that crime fit? The punishment? At the same time, he was already he was already on probation, right? Or was he not?
Yeah. Well, he got convicted in 2008 for robbery with a gun. A lot of people think the punishment was payback for the 1995 acquittal.
Right. And that's why I say you kind of have to separate the the two. Now, if he's on probation and he did that crime with the gun, then I think getting out early shouldn't even be a question, because your probation was your get out early card, I guess you'd say. You know what I mean?
Oh, no question. A lot of people said if this wasn't OJ, he'd be getting out. So this is a case where, those other cases.
Well, what I'm saying is that I'm not sure if he was on probation at the time of which that occurred, but if he was on probation, then I don't think he should get out early. But
right.
Getting out early should really depend on how he's been in prison and what the people think that the punishment is equal to what he's done with the gun in the hotel, and not taking anything into consideration as far as the murders.
No question about it. You had a chance to meet Dr. Murray, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And at that time, you didn't think nothing of it, right? Like in terms of him doing anything wrong in the medical world, right?
No, and this was fairly new into everybody's relationship with each other. He came early in the early part of when they came from Ireland. The children were sick, Mr. Jackson was sick, so he was brought in at that time. And of course, he was just a doctor at the time. Nobody knew the magnitude of how much of the legacy of Michael Jackson that he was going to be attached to. So, he had his doctor's briefcase, and he looked like a doctor. And at that time, when nobody thought anything.
Yeah, but as you heard more of the evidence, like that day with the 911 when he waited so long and things like that, that really struck the chord, right?
Absolutely. Now, as far as his from reading and listening to what happened, I believe some of his practices of to save somebody's life is a little in question. Definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. The another person that you had a chance to work with was rapper The Dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Mr.
tell us
Nash,
about that?
he's a great guy.
Good people.
Yeah. Most know him as The Dream. You know, he wrote tons of songs that's out there on the radio today. He made himself quite a name in the producing business. I've taken care of a few times when he came out here, where these nightlife establishments they would pay for him to perform if he's going to be performing at their nightlife venue, and I call him Mr. Nash. That way, that way we're on a more professional level. But he's a great guy. He's really talented. Doesn't have a huge entourage, which is great. Just really a laid back guy. And we really hit it off great. And I know that he's been married recently, so he's basically doing a lot of family things. But true professional, I believe. He never. I mean, he was back at his room early. Just like people say, is there any dirt on The Dream? Not at all. Not at all. He was a true gentleman. Like there was nothing even trying to make a story out of, because he does what he needs to do. He tends to his fans, and then he's back at his hotel. True artist.
Yeah, and if you look at his YouTube, he has millions and millions of viewers, and has a lot of successful songs. What about Miley Cyrus? You had a chance to work with her. How'd that go?
I worked for her a few times. When she came to Las Vegas, when she goes for iHeart, when she performed for iHeart, and then another, sometimes after that. She's. I like Miley. I think when you talk to her, you just kind of see that this girl is above and beyond the normal talent that's out there. I mean, and by far, she seems very alert, very. I'm trying to make sure I don't screw this up, because she a lot of people always, her and Lindsay, people ask a lot of questions about those two, and I tell you, Miley's very. And that's not doing her justice, but she just has a great communication with people. She's very intellectual. She's very communicative when she's talking to anybody, and that could be anybody from an usher to somebody that's in a circle, or somebody that she's working with. She's very into what she's doing. There's a lot of passion behind her. I liked working for her a lot, just because of her professionalism. People would think, she's a wild child, this and that, but not at all. She really handles herself very professional. She's going to do what she wants. She's young, of course, but she's a good experience. I mean, honestly, I have never. I don't think I have not one word to say anything bad about Miley at all. Great girl.
Yeah, no question. And William Shatner, can you tell us anything about him?
Mr. Shatner, Mr. Shatner, for those who don't know, Captain Kirk, or the guy from the Priceline commercial, he was great. He's fantastic for a man his age, and the experience that he has with Hollywood. We had some great conversations during some good rides, and he, you're walking with a legend. When you're working with somebody, there's a lot of different clients that come along your way, and some you look at and you say, wow, that's of course, with Mr. Jackson, and then with Mr. Shatner, right. it was more of that movie persona, that I was just kind of looking at him.
Old school.
This is Mr. Shatner, and then taking him to where he and then when he had to do his Priceline commercials, and those are kind of neat too, to be at. So true professional, travels a lot, definitely a gentleman, I'd say, in the business. I mean, the way he introduced me to his wife, and the way we were walking around in Hollywood. I mean, I believe in Beverly Hills. You know, when I first met the day I first met him, and it was just right then I knew like this guy is genuine, and I've never had anything. You know, I used to pick him up at all hours of the day, and every day he was the same guy. Every day he was the same guy. He was just a genuine, nice guy. You know, and he liked to drive fast on the freeways.
Yeah, it must be cool with those guys, and that must have been some fun opportunities being with some of those names.
Yeah, absolutely,
for sure.
Truly a blessing to see that. You know, to see people in their reality of you know, people who are such entertainers. You know, they make their life as entertaining of the people. And with one good thing, a blessing to witness is to see those kind of people be themselves when cameras are not there, when others are not there. You know, let them be goofy or let them act how they, you know, be a person. You know, that's one of the best things probably out of all those experiences.
Right. And, you know, you were a bodyguard for all these people, but Michael Jackson, even though you were a bodyguard, I think you told me when you were younger, you were a big Michael Jackson fan. You had the jacket, right?
Oh, absolutely. I used to try and I wanted the glove, and I never got the glove. And I used to go to the store where they'd sell white gloves and think of ways I could put on sparkles on my glove, on that glove, so I could have a Michael Jackson glove. Yeah. Yeah.
And you were listening to his show, I believe you told us, when you were in Hawaii, maybe when you were really young.
Oh, yeah. Oh, when I got to he came to Hawaii, and I had to go to work, and I grew up next to the stadium, and he was playing in the stadium, and I could hear him singing. And what's really cool about that is the fact that I got to, after working with him and being with him, I got to actually tell him that. And tell him that, you know, I was out.
Oh, you told him the story.
Yeah, I told him the story. You know, he just got a chuckle out of it, and yeah, I really wanted to go to that show, but I couldn't. I remember, I think the reason why was because I just started my job or something. But I just remember I really wanted to go, and I couldn't go.
Interesting story. Now on the sports wise, let's start with the NFL. Did you get a chance to hear that big blockbuster trade with the Rams and the Titans?
Yeah, I saw a little bit about that. I touched on a little bit about that. You know, here's the thing. To put all your eggs in one basket is just, I've never been a firm believer of that. And to give up trades for a person who's not even in the NFL yet. And, you know, I think through the course of NFL history, we've seen that happen before, and the ratio of it turning out to be good is not well. You know, so we'll see. We'll see. I think it's too much of a distraction to be honest. You know, new venue, new everything. I think it's just going to be a circus. It's going to be in Hollywood. You know, whoever they bring in, it's just going to be a circus.
Yeah, they haven't had a team there in 13 years at least.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Los Angeles.
It's a lot to take in with a young new quarterback. A lot of things can be a distraction. So, I think that I don't know. I hope people don't think that. And I know they do because I got family in LA. But some people think that they're just going to come out guns blazing, I guess you'd say, out in LA, and the Rams are supposed to do something, but I don't know.
No question. We got a caller. Let's go out to, I believe this is Virginia, 540. Please state your name and where you're calling from. You're live on King Jordan Radio. 540.
Hi, it's Mary Wainwright. How are you, Jordan and Mr. Garcia?
Hi, Mary.
Nice.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
Hi. Oh, what an interesting life to lead. You get to meet all these, different people, and you kind of get to know what they're really like in a way, right?
Absolutely.
And I wanted to ask you, like, when you worked for Michael Jackson, did you work like certain hours, or did you stay at the where he lived, you know, in your own bedroom there, or you just show up in the morning and go home at night, or how did that work?
Well, I started working for him, you know, here in Las Vegas first. So when he was here, he was at the Monte Cristo house. So between several of us, we just kind of made a schedule as far as somebody that was always going to be at the house.
Okay.
With clients, you normally, well, for myself, I normally don't go in the house because it gives them that kind of trust. We can kind of build the trust between myself and with them, because, you know, as in the celebrity world, especially with security, you can't trust new security or new faces. So you kind of go through that in the beginning. So if they invite me in, then that's fine. But I don't normally go in the house. So that was when we were here in Las Vegas. When we left Las Vegas and went to Virginia or up and down the East Coast, we stayed in hotels.
Oh, really?
So,
I didn't know he was in Virginia. That's where I'm from.
Yeah. We stayed in Middleburg.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
that's not far from me.
Yeah, we had a great time out there. Beautiful country.
Oh, I know. I live an hour from Middleburg, and I live out in the country too. So what you're seeing in Middleburg is where I live. Same kind of scenery.
Mr. Jackson loved it out there.
Really?
He took in fact it's somewhere around, but he was very into photography, and he would we were on a huge estate, so he was able to kind of walk out into fields and really kind of take pictures and really get creative with the landscaping. But he loved it. We loved it. We all loved it. You know, it was really beautiful.
Well, it's just really been interesting. Just been listening to everything you had to say. So I just wanted to ask a couple of questions regarding when you worked for him. So, but anyway, really nice talking with you, and it's
pleasure to meet you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, absolutely. So that was interesting. And you also you got a chance to go to, I think, New York or New Jersey or both?
Both. Yeah, we stayed in New Jersey, but we're in New York every day, you know, for work, or he was doing a photo shoot, or, you know, for whatever reasons that we needed to be. So it was in and out of New York at the time, but we stayed in New Jersey. Mr. Jackson, that's when Mr. Jackson was staying at Angel's house.
Right. There was one of the bodyguards that you were on the show, but I think Michael Jackson was ordering McDonald's, but he had, you know, like they didn't know it was Michael, and then did you hear that story?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So you know about So were you in that car that time when this was going on?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So he was.
he would, you know, or you know, Mr. Jackson loved chicken wings, so we would go to the chicken wing place and order. I mean, you're talking about the kids are in the car, and all three of us are in the car, or in the truck, I should say, and going in and ordering 80 wings and coming out, and we'll sit. You know, we used to sit right there in the parking lot, in front of the place, and everybody's eating chicken wings, and nobody could see us, and we used to laugh, you know, because it's Michael Jackson sitting right here inside this truck, you know, eating wings, looking at you.
Yeah, that must have been surreal, to say the least.
Oh, it was great times. Yeah, it was great times. You know, I mean, I see a lot of, you know, in the media, all the pictures and stuff of how much the kids have grown, you know, and to see them during that time, you know, just to see them during that time when they were kids, when he was around, and you know, just to see them at that crucial age of learning, you know, of looking at, you know, life and everything else. You know, I think I told you before, I used to take them by myself to circus, and you know, so they could play and everything else and whatnot. And to see them now, it's really great to see them as adults.
Yeah, they all turned out. Yeah, they all turned out pretty good. You know, that's definitely a great reflection of Michael Jackson But just to get back to some of the sports nation, if you will, did you get a chance to catch Kobe Bryant's last game? And if so, what do you think?
I think it was surreal that it was Kobe. You know, I mean, we all knew that he was coming to, but you know, it was just really amazing because I remember when he came to the Lakers. You know, I'm a Laker fan.
Right.
I remember when he came. You know, so when he came to the Lakers, and then when he went through the whole thing, the championships and the Shaq thing, and you know, going through all that, and then getting more championships without Shaq. You know, my nephew, he covers the Lakers for another site, and he goes to all the Laker games. Now, that's all he knows. That's all he knows is Kobe and Lakers. He's known that all his life. You know, he's 25 years old. You know, and he, you know, I mean, I'm sure he took it pretty tough, but it's just weird that Kobe it won't be a part of the Lakers and put up 60 points. Now, you know, granted, maybe some people out there didn't play as hard or what, you know, whatever or what have you, but those shots that he was putting up was just, I mean, it just reminded you of Kobe days, you know, and how that fadeaway
on his face.
Yeah, you know, and and I think it couldn't have been a better send-off, retirement style performance show, you know, for the entire show from watching it on TV, you know, and his family being there and him talking to the crowd. It was great, you know, it was really good.
Oh,
and
yeah, Kanye West was there.
Yeah, and he's definitely going to go down in the books as in the top three. You know, in my category, when Kobe was Kobe at his prime, there was nobody stopping Kobe, and I say that not just because I'm a Lakers fan, but man, the guy was insane.
Yeah, no, especially what showed you is he did it without Shaq. You know, it's one thing that he did it with Shaq, that was good, but he did he did 3 championships he went to. And he won 2 without.
And he stayed with one team. You know, he's one team. You know, he didn't leave. He didn't do anything. He stayed with one team, and I think that's the great thing about it is that, you know, you get so many guys who are going for either money or they're going for whatever reasons that they have. You know, not to say that their move is a bad thing. You know, to each its own, but the fact that he just did it, and you know, and he talks about being a Lakers fan all of his life, and how Magic Johnson posters on his wall growing up, and you know, I mean, the whole story of Kobe Bryant going from that to being what he was to the Lakers, you know, and everything, you know, great story.
Yeah, and supposedly, as it was told, Kobe was friends with Michael. He got some tips from him. He said recently in an interview, he was at that funeral that was broadcasted live, him and Magic, and sounds like they were good friends at one point or another.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
No push. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but so between all the major sports, what would you say is your most watched sport that you would be interested in?
My most watched sport is football. It's definitely football.
Football is good because in 16 games, every game counts. It's like, you know, baseball. You go 30 games and still don't count.
And the rigor, and what it does to your body, it's so rigorous. It's every day, every week. You know, what people that watch football, they say, oh yeah, you know, they show up on Sundays, but they don't understand is like during the week, the preparation that it takes to you know, get ready for a Sunday. And to me, it's being older and looking at the game, because I grew up playing football, but now being older, having been a coach and looking at the game as far as the structure of getting a plan to go in and win that weekend, you know, it's great. I watch a lot of the film leading up to that Sunday, You know,
Yeah.
just to see how players are
shows?
the countdown shows, but you know, a lot of the updates as far as, you know, how are these players feeling, and how, you know, what's going on in their lives, and you know,
Right.
you know, I mean, it's really a story. I mean, because everybody's got, you know, they came from hard times. Everybody's got he's a spoiled rich kid.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, I mean, you know, so you're going to see those stories come and go. But the true professionals who take it seriously, you know, the game of football seriously, and appreciate the opportunity to be a professional football player. You know, man, that's you know, yeah. So I mean, that's my number one. My number two probably now is probably, of course, Thai boxing. You know, Muay Thai.
Oh, wow.
Which I think probably will be the next big thing to be in. I guess in combat sports, I guess you'd say. You know, more people I think are
Von Miller.
starting to get. I'm sorry.
Thoughts on him? Von Miller from the Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos. Your
Von Miller,
thoughts on him?
I think he's somebody that you're not going to see like him in a while. I mean, that guy's awesome.
Yeah.
His athleticism, what I like about him is that he just, not that he doesn't care, but he doesn't take things too seriously. He has a good energy of flow about him, and
right.
You know, he has that personality, and guys with that personality on the field, it's hard to shake those kind of people, or get them upset, or get them wild up, you know, and out of their game, because he's just going to keep coming every down. And I tell you what, I mean, that's a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer for sure.
What about Peyton Manning? What's your take on him?
Field general, you know, like the sheriff. I mean, he's definitely, you know, he's definitely. It's kind of that his numbers aren't the greatest, where you could sit back and say, okay, he's the greatest.
Not like they were, at least, right?
Yeah, but as far as a healthy Peyton,
just enough.
You know, a healthy Peyton, I think that Brett Favre at his age was in better shape. And, you know, was definitely better. You know what I mean, when they're both at that age. But I think Peyton Manning was still going to go down as one of the greatest. I mean, the guy was doing things on the field before people noticed it and thought it was cool.
I totally agree.
He had been doing all those kind of things, and he studies the game. He studies the opponents. He looks for things. And I think the biggest thing about quarterbacks is that you had to have a quarterback who, you know, I always tell people, you know, look at ball placement. You know, don't look at flash. Don't look at anything else. Look at where a quarterback can put the ball for the receiver. You know, and Peyton Manning is great at that. You know, he's putting that ball where it needs to be. As soon as that receiver turns around, boom, put the ball where it needs to be. I think he's people are going to emulate him for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. And the guy that's young and upcoming guy is Cam Newton. He came pretty close. Maybe he'll get a title next year. Maybe he won't.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But overall, what's your take on his play?
I think I'm not into big talkers. You know, just play the game. You know, and if you want to, you know, if you get tackled and you want to jump up and be excited,
he has
that's
a lot
fine.
to say.
But when you're talking so much, I believe that it takes your energy and your focus away from what your objective is, and then and that's too much passion, because you know you can burst with passion and then you can get poked with passion, where he's so passionate that you can take him out of his game, you know, and that's not good. But his athleticism is just probably, I mean, just phenomenal. You know, I mean, in the top category as far as one of the most professional people playing right now in the game. I say Cam Newton is, because he's just, I mean, at his size, his agility, his toughness, his everything is just, it's amazing. You know, and when he throws his passes, and when he's spot on, he is spot on. You know, and
his
and like I said, his ball placement is pretty well on point. I think he kind of, you know, in my opinion, he kind of beat himself in the Super Bowl. You know, I think he kind of beat himself a little bit, being too emotional, getting too, you know, taking his own stuff out of the game,
especially.
Yeah, but athletic-wise, and as far as if you just stick to basics and play the game, I think he could have done it. I think he'll come in next year and do that. And I'm hoping that he will. But you know, if you can't complain on every play, you can't, you know, you're taking yourself mentally out of what the focus is, and the mission is to get down the field. And he, you know, you watch him get tackled and he's complaining. Come on, man, just play the game.
Absolutely, no
on
question
to the next
about
one, right?
it.
Yeah, on to the next one. But
yeah,
definitely. And you know, people will compare him to Kaepernick, and to me, he's got a far better arm than Kaepernick, a more dialed in, precise, on target arm.
Yeah.
And he definitely can run laterally, you know, side to side a lot better than Kaepernick. I think Kaepernick's more of a north and south kind of runner.
Great. I mean, you got a couple good quarterbacks in the league. You got Brady. You got trying to think who else is good off the top of my head. I think the guy on the Jets is okay. You know, he's not great, but he gets the job done. Eli Manning, so. But as far as like good, you know, Peyton Manning he's retired. Brady, maybe the guy from the Dallas Cowboys. He can go on. You know, I think you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how well we're going to do with Romo.
Well, they got a pick, I think. And
yeah, but you know, the thing is that they
had some bad luck.
They should have done that last year. I didn't think what's his name, the backup from Utah. I didn't think he was that bad, but you know, it's just it's just you know, everything is there, guys. Everything is there, and with the Dallas Cowboys, I think they have to get away from the fact that this guy does it all, and if without him, we don't succeed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, he's going to be gone one day, guys. You know, let's look at being past the Roma era, further down the road.
Yeah, Romo, who wasn't even drafted.
We get a lot of running backs. A lot of running backs from this draft, though, are talking about that they want to play for the Cowboys. Running back from Alabama, Ezekiel Elliott. You know, they said they want to play for the Cowboys, but we'll see.
Do you remember the '90s squad with Troy Aikman and who else was there? Michael Irving.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, that was a tough team to beat. They won 3-4 championships.
Back in those days, you know, you were able to go to the gate, and I have pictures of Dion, Emmett, Irving, Newton,
who played for both, right? San Francisco and Dallas.
Aikman, Pat Swilling, a bunch of guys. Because back in those days, you can go up to the gate and you can take pictures as the players came off the gate. And the Pro Bowl was always the week of right after the Super Bowl. So they were flying in right after the Super Bowl. And I got pictures of all those players, all those guys who made Martin Subnowski, everybody. I mean, almost the whole team made All Pro.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. And before we go, you know, it's pretty amazing. Michael Jackson fans that appreciate. They let me know that, you know, you could have sold the made-up story. You probably had the opportunity for a lot of cash, and you never sold out on Michael. So the Michael Jackson fans are letting me know that. So that's kudos to you for that.
Well, I truly appreciate that. And he was, I believe he was somebody of a messenger in a way that enlightened everybody's lives and gave he gave what people needed. And like I said earlier in the show, I'm not a fan of messing with somebody's legacy for so I don't believe in that.
You didn't like that thing they did last year, right? When
who am I to? I'm sorry.
You didn't like that thing they did last year or the year before, that hologram?
Yeah, just let's kind of let his music speaks for himself. The things he did for the world speaks for itself. The things, let's appreciate those things. We don't need other movies and other people putting out books to put their interpretation. It's out there. And to me, from the experience of what he taught me, to be around somebody of that magnitude, definitely, my compensation was paid in full. So, I appreciate the fans. I appreciate the fans. I did the CNN interviews, for them. I did the CNN interviews for Mr. Jackson. Those things
you were always on his side.
Yeah, and I never got paid for anything, and I made that a point to these networks. So, just a matter of getting him out there as far as what his message is, making sure people understand him not just for his music, but what his message is to the world.
The human being, right? That's one person that can never be forgotten. And we thank you for coming on. Maybe you'll come on again for his birthday. Yeah, we do yearly. So that would be great if maybe you come back in August.
Sounds good, Joe. I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
Anytime. We'll talk some more about sports next time, and we'll be seeing if your Cowboys are in the mix at the next time
hopefully,
we're speaking.
Hopefully.
Okay. Thanks a lot,
all right,
Mike.
Jordan. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, to listening tonight to former bodyguard of Michael Jackson, Mike Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, 9:30 on the East, 6:30 on the West, 8:30 Central Time, will be Tom Mesereau. That's right. Lead defense attorney for Michael Jackson. It's been since the summer since he's been on the show, but he will be on the show to talk about Michael Jackson and other topics tomorrow night time. You could listen on iTunes. You could listen right through calling into the show and asking him any questions. He will be taking your questions at 347-857-2950. And I want to tell you, a week from Thursday, we will have Aphrodite Jones. And a week from tonight, we will have Mr. MJ fans know who I'm talking about, Brad Sundberg, who worked with Mr. Jackson in the music. We will also have in a couple of weeks Mike Smallcomb, who is the he came out with the book Making Michael. So we'll definitely have him. And don't forget, though, tomorrow night will be the one and only Tom Mesereau right here live on the King Jordan Radio Show. So I want to thank everybody for listening in. And I'm going to leave you with Michael Jackson, You Rock My World. Good night, everybody. We'll speak to you.